These are the tales and ramblings of two men, their dream of running a successful food truck business and life. We invite you along to join Josh and Skippy on this journey. This is Monday Morning Food Truck.
Yeah, I guess
You're getting a bargain.
I guess going into this, I didn't really realize how much more to have a food truck at your house versus having like a commissary, how much more expense, not really, probably expense isn't the right word, but more things to do. Like you have to get, I got another trash barrel. It's like $60 every 2 months or something like that. And,
Yep.
and another,
I got 6.
I know, I saw your house is like, you might as well just get a little small dumpster.
I can't.
I know.
I tried. They wouldn't give me one.
Really?
Yeah, there's not enough room for the truck to be able to turn around.
That makes sense.
So they can't do it, and they won't back. So they're not allowed to back out onto a road, I guess. So they would. So I had to do 6 roadside dumpsters.
And you have to take them out. Do you fill all 6 every week?
During the summer, yeah, usually 5. So that's food truck trash and home trash. We're usually 5.
Do you ask your places if they have a dumpster you can dump? Okay, I do too.
Yeah, sometimes if there's like one that's visible to us, we're like, hey, do you mind if we throw a bag of trash in there?
So
We have a couple regular locations that are fine with it, and we will dump trash there every time.
So there's there's another thing is when you set up at new places or when you set up at places, don't just assume it's okay to use their dumpster. Ask. Yeah. Be respectful of their, because they obviously have to pay for that dumpster. So even though you might think you guys are best friends and they're doing you a favor, you're doing them a favor too, and just ask, because you'll find that there are food trucks out there that will not they just do it, and they get a bad rap just for doing it.
Yeah, we had that at one of the locations where they shared a dumpster with the neighbors, and they just didn't go through a ton of trash. So their dumpster didn't get dumped every week. They got dumped once a month, maybe.
Yeah.
So we threw a bag of trash in there, thinking it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. And it sat there for.
Well, yeah. And the next time we went, they're like, "Can you guys not dump your trash in there anymore?" I was like, "Oh, no problem." Like, yeah, it was pretty rancid. Like they called to have a special dump done. So.
Yeah, just be respectful of your surroundings, especially if you're a new food truck. Be respectful of your surroundings, where you can dump, where you can't. Sorry.
Always dump in a bathroom.
Always dump in a bathroom. Yes.
So we have, speaking of that, we have 2 new constructions down going in next to us with porta johns, and they tipped over in the wind during the blizzard. So I'm sure those are lovely smelling piles of frozen poop.
So so got another thing for you.
Okay.
I just got a message from a friend of mine saying I'm going to be smoking my first brisket on his pellet cooker tomorrow. Any advice? So
set the bar low.
Cook it till it's done.
Yeah.
So that brings me up to, you've been doing this food truck thing. You're going on your 4th year. Do you get clients and friends still ask you how to cook something?
Mm-hmm.
Like advice on how to cook something?
Yeah.
Do you give them the food truck way or your personal way? Like how you would, like if it was, a meal for your family versus cooking for the masses?
For me, there's not a whole lot of difference other than wrapping versus not wrapping. So I'll kind of give them both and ask them what kind of time frame they're looking to want to cook for.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's always like keep it very simple. You can inject, but you don't need to inject. Yeah, so I am more than willing to help anybody out. I've had a lot of people ask for a mac and cheese recipe, and I tell them no. Or I will give them the recipe for the batch for 10 pounds of dry noodle and tell them to do the math.
Makes sense. No, I understand.
Because the math is important, and I still have yet to be able to get a batch of 1 pound of noodles with that recipe to turn out the way it does for the truck. I don't know what it is about the magic of the 10 pounds, that ratio of everything, but I try to scale it by a tenth and it just never turns out the same for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I will tell people what our quote unquote secret ingredient is, and they always look at me like I'm got shit coming out of my eyes. They're like, really? I'm like, yep, it works. I said, that's how I can call it 5 cheese. And it's Parmesan garlic wing sauce, by the way, in case anybody wants to know.
Yeah.
Just enough of a drizzle.
But yeah, that, and I mean, people ask us about rubs and stuff all the time. What do we use?
Mhm.
And I'll pull the whole lineup of 999 barbecue superstore stuff, and I'll
Yeah.
show them everything. I don't want people to have a bad experience when they're doing it themselves.
Yeah.
Not going to take business away from me, because no one wants to spend 12 hours cooking a pork butt for a sandwich. You know,
Yeah.
it's going to be more of a special occasion for them and type of thing. So I want them to have the best experience. I don't want anybody to have bad barbecue.
Something that they may not do all the time that we do all the time.
Right.
That we actually look forward to not doing for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. Sure. They might cater a family function instead of having us do it, but they're probably only going to do it once.
Yeah.
When they realize how much work it is and how much they don't get to enjoy themselves doing something like that. So, yeah, I'm fine with letting anybody know pretty much anything.
When you do drop off caterings,
Mhm.
Yeah, I assume you give people sauce, correct?
Yeah.
Do you give them the bottle that it might come in, like the small bottles, or do you give them a squeeze bottle?
I give them a gallon.
Well, I assume it's not for for 20 people, you're going to give somebody a gallon of sauce?
I know. So if it's that small of an amount, what we've been doing lately is doing the sauce cups. And we'll do 2 to a person and leave that.
See, I bought the bottle, the little bottles, and just give a little bottle out.
They're too, cost wise. It's, who knows? It might be the same as me doing individual sauce cups, but
just remember, simplicity is genius.
I know, and that's why we just do a regular gallon. So we'll do a bowl. We'll get the plastic bowls from GFS, the black square ones. So we'll fill that with a plastic ladle in it, and then leave the bottle for them to have any extra if they need to fill it. Okay. Most often we've noticed that with doing the bowl of sauce, that it rarely needs to get refilled unless we are doing a large number of like over 150 people.
Yeah.
So I'll probably start doing half gallons for drop-offs like that. For like 100 people or less, we'll leave a half gallon with them. But I don't mind leaving the extra sauce as almost like a thank you, type of thing. Like, here's your sauce. It's a $20 gallon of sauce, $23 gallon of sauce, or whatever. It's rolled into the price of the catering. So,
yeah, I think I leave the small bottles because it's easier for me to, I guess, gauge how much sauce they're probably going to use. I don't have to pour it into a squeeze bottle. I don't have to, I guess, worry about any more dishes other than just that bottle of sauce.
Yeah.
Plus they can see the label of the sauce too. So
yeah.
I like the people that you go through what you're giving them, and then you show up with everything that you talked about, and they seem astonished by everything that you get or you gave them, because you told them you were like this Christmas Eve catering. I gave a bottle of sauce, and I said, yeah. She's like, a whole bottle? I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's what you ordered.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't believe you gave me a bottle. And she's just astonished. I'm like, listen, people like naked wings, but they also like sauced wings. I don't know. Just use it. Or in your fridge. I mean, figure it out. And they're like, she's like, I didn't ask you about buns. I'm like, well, it's a good thing I brought you some. And I had extra cornbread. So I gave her, she said she was only doing it for like 20. For all this, she ordered a full pan of wings the half pan of pork, which is like 5 pounds, give or take, a full pan of mac, and a half pan of cheesy taters for 15 people. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you have big relatives that are coming and they haven't eaten in a week. So I'm hoping that was Christmas presents for her relatives, was to have leftover food.
Yeah, that's a lot of food. Yeah,
That's hefty.
I turned down a lot of those sized this year for last week.
Yeah,
just because it's not. Yeah,
I wasn't thrilled when I was cooking it, but I was thrilled when I dropped it off.
yeah.
And how happy they were and things like that. I guess that's what gets me, is the whole how happy they are, how, they didn't tip.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But for me, it's one thing if I'm already cooking every day and it's just throwing some extra wings on the smoker or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I didn't take any of those catering jobs for the 23rd. Yeah, because then you're dealing with potential refunds or whatever. Either they cancel or whatever, or I'm out there in the blizzard trying to do wings.
I'm going to keep your money, but we're going to reschedule your party. No,
Yeah.
I think it's sorry to get on this catering kick. Catering is, for me, I'd love to hear from our listeners. For me, catering is tough. I'm always, when it comes to, I would rather them order, like, I guess, quote unquote, a la carte than, per person price. Cause I'm still like, if they order something by the pan, I know how much I'm putting in a pan. And if they order it like per person, they got 100 people. I
want them to worry about whether or not there's enough food for their number.
Absolutely. I want them to be on I want their skin in the game as much as mine. But I would rather do that and then just give general recommendations. Hey, a full pan will feed 40 to 60 people, depending on whether you have, church mice coming or football players, and it's up to them to order it. So I know there are caterers out there that will do it where you'll always try to sell more than, maybe what your pan provides, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I think she ordered a lot of food for 15 people, but I don't know the 15 people that are coming.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it was on them. But catering for me is still tough. Really?
You're on laptops, babe. I'll be right back.
Yep. Oh, shut up.
Yeah, my doorbell's connected to all my Google speakers in the house, and we have one in every room. So when someone comes.
Well, good to know.
Yeah.
I stopped at a residential house yesterday, and I heard a voice just magically appear when I opened the window. What the fuck is that? Then I listened to it again. Hello. You are currently being recorded. Thank you. Like,
thank you.
Anyways, if any of our listeners want to drop a comment about maybe what your catering pitfalls are, or maybe a funny catering story that we can share, that's funny. That's good times.
Yeah, it's and we do the per person a la carte. We don't prepackage anything. We don't have any 2 meats, 1 side for a certain price and then add $1 per person for brisket. They get a price sheet. I send them a price sheet. They get to pick their whole menu. They know what the price per person per whatever item it is, and they can essentially fit whatever they want into their.
What's the difference between, I guess, your price sheet, because I assume brisket's more expensive than pork, versus somebody saying, here's the base, and if you want brisket, it's a couple dollars more? What's the difference?
For me, it feels more transparent, I guess. Like I'm not hiding the brisket price, I think some people do it to reduce sticker shock almost. You say something's $1 more a person, you don't really compute it, but you see $14 a person, and like, oh shit, I don't want that. Yeah, and then I mean, so you get prepackaged stuff is, 2 meats, 3 sides, whatever. But then you get the follow-up questions. Well, what if I want to add on another meat? What is that price? I think the way I do it, it eliminates a lot of conversation that doesn't need to be there. And it
So
probably eliminates the ability for me to upsell. But people know what they want,
So you feel that the way you do it takes any guesswork out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's straightforward. It's easy. The only time we ever get into real conversation about with questions is so if I order 2 meats for 100 people, am I getting 100 people's worth of meat? Are you giving me brisket for 100 people and pork for 100 people? Or we know that not everybody's going to have both, so can we do pork for 75, brisket for 50? So that's how some of those questions come in, and I mean, that's fine. And I've had people do that with every item, where every item is for a different number of people, even their sides. So
so that's like
fine.
It's kind of like my a la carte, where people control their own destiny, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a set budget that you want to get into, I'm going to let you pick what you want. I'm not going to try to shoehorn you in. You have full control over your budget.
So if somebody comes up to you and says, I want your food truck menu for our wedding, do you have a price for you to provide your food truck menu?
Yeah. So that we're running the tab for their people, and with a minimum amount. So for a wedding, for us to show up with the food truck and have the full menu available, we're at 2,200, and that's going to be the only thing we do that day.
Yeah,
and we're probably going to load up a little heavier for a wedding just to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
But just like with a drop-off catering, anything that we don't reuse, they keep. So any meat that's left over, we leave it with them.
Yeah.
And
let them know that too.
I do every time,
because they need a place to put it. Sometimes they do. Sometimes I've had people bring an extra cooler, and a dry cooler, and you can just set it in there with a couple towels or something of that nature. But
right, and for some people that's a selling point.
Yeah,
because now we've had people order extra because of it. I get some extra pork then but yeah, absolutely.
I had a good phone call from one of our venues yesterday, and it's a straight up venue. It's a bar, but it's also a wedding venue, and they have a couple other buildings. It's probably 40-50 acres worth of venue place. Anyway, so he called me yesterday and said that because of how professional we are when we're there, serving the bar guests, he's going to put us on his like preferred caterers list. I'm like, well, I appreciate that. So we were talking about menu and, base prices, things like that, to have the actual food truck out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were getting into that. And then he said something about, lost my train of thought. Oh, like, do you do your food truck menu? And I said, well, we can do the food truck menu, but we also have a catering menu too. And that's where having your own website is probably a good idea too, if you're just starting out in this food truck race. Because I just told them the website, told them where to go, and everything's right there. But yeah, that was a great. That was probably one of the best calls I've received, because it's like people are starting to realize that whenever we go to a place, we try to leave it better than we came.
Yep.
And so far that was really cool. I like receiving phone calls like that.
Yeah, I mean, treat your guests, your hosts right, and then treat their patrons and your patrons the best you can when you're there, and it'll pay dividends for a long time.
Make friends with for weddings. Make friends with the wedding planner. Make sure you all exchange cards. For people who are just thinking of people who have been doing this for a while, probably already know this stuff, but make friends with the bar people if they're an outside company. it's always good to know people in a pinch.
Mhm.
If the wedding venue calls you because you're the caterer and say, hey, have you happened to work with a mobile bar service or something like that? You'll be able to tell them, yeah, absolutely, I have. Here you go.
Yeah.
So it's always good to explore your relationships.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna switch gears real quick, and then we'll wrap it up.
I don't have more plowing stories. Sorry.
No.
I did wake my wife up yesterday at 5 o'clock because I dropped the plow in our driveway, and she said it was quite loud.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. So as we're New Year's coming up in just a couple days,
Oh boy.
resolution time. I don't want to do resolutions for our trucks, but instead let's do goals, and we're going to break it down for month by month. So for January, what is your business goal for January? What are you hoping to accomplish to further move it forward for January?
Well, glad you brought this up.
Sounds like we planned it.
My January and February are gonna be the same things. So I gotta combine both months.
Okay.
So we just talked about catering. I want to print out almost like office catering packages and physically drop them off, and to try to increase, not necessarily, I mean, obviously I'd love the business, but I also want people to know who I am and what we do if they've never been to our truck. They can see that, hey, we have another barbecue place in town. This is what they offer. Their prices are competitive. Let's try them out. And hopefully my goal, because I know they're probably not going to be, 100, 200 person parties, but it'll increase awareness to where maybe I am in the area, which will then increase business to the food truck at different events.
Right. So,
So just increase awareness through in-person, increase awareness by being in person and being in front of people. So actually thinking about joining the Chamber of Commerce.
in which city?
My local one, Jackson.
Okay. That'll be a good conversation for another day. Joining Chamber of Commerce in cities that you
Frequent.
because it's been brought up to us a couple times.
I apologize. When I said I lost my train of thought, the part I told them about our catering is if they choose to book us, we'll waive our non-existent travel fee. Sorry.
Very nice of you, Skippy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have it if we go more than 50 miles, we do have a travel fee. But this is less than 50 miles, but we can waive any type of travel fees to.
Do you have a travel fee listed anywhere?
We say delivery or that our location is within like an hour from our house or hour from our home base, and there's no dollars listed per se. That comes up later, depending on where. Because last year I took a lot of caterings not knowing where the venue was until like a couple weeks ahead of time. So for those venues, I would have taken a travel fee, but I didn't because I wasn't smart enough to ask. Now I ask. Anyway, sorry. Going back to New Year's stuff.
All right. So for me, for a goal for January, and I'm going to go a little bit more specific as far as booking goes.
Well, that was pretty specific.
It's a good, yeah. My goal is to book 15,000 in catered jobs in January.
Okay. I don't think I've had that. Well, yeah, I've surpassed that in catering. Okay.
So yeah, we've done the last 2 months have been pretty equal, or the last 2 years, I'm sorry. So we've been about 50 each year. So far this year, I've already booked 10 for next year. So I'm hoping for 15. We're going to push hard on.
I'm close to you. I'm close to you on how much I've booked already.
For next year.
Good. I think I'm at 75.
Yeah. It's good to get a good jump on it.
I swear, if every day was like June 10th, I'd be a freaking millionaire.
every year, there's 1 or 2 dates that just everybody wants for whatever reason. They're arbitrary dates. Like what is it about that date that everybody's drawn to for whatever reason? It's weird. But yeah, there's always 2, 1 or 2 every year. Yeah, like if I had 7 trucks, I'd still be turning stuff down.
Yeah. I think when Tiki Sam, and thanks again for being on our podcast last week. It was awesome. I honestly can't remember if he went over this, but he does a morning or an early afternoon and a late afternoon booking for those hours. And one question I didn't ask is, well, what happens if a wedding is at like 1 o'clock or is in between those bookings? Do you take the day off, or do you take the rest of the day off, or do you just do that? And or do you say you can only do it during this time? I like the idea of that because it really doesn't kind of shut you down for a day. You can plan around these bookings. So if you do your 10 or 15,000 new bookings, how many events do you think that is?
That's almost impossible.
Average.
So let's see. Carry the 1.
West Side Matt.
I'd say it's probably about 12.
Yeah. Okay.
This time of year, we're gonna push open houses pretty hard.
Yeah.
And then you throw in a wedding here or there, and you're there. We've been in conversation with Aetna, if you're familiar with that, ETNA. They're doing 6 company parties this spring, and they reached out to us to do all of them.
Awesome.
Most of them are about 120 people. Their Grand Rapids office is 500, and she wanted to service off the truck within an hour. I said, well, that's not going to happen for that one. I said, here's what we can do. But she's now she's talking about doing 2 trucks for each of the smaller ones, even.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I said, our minimum still our minimum, and she's fine with that. And then we're going to just do a buffet for the 500 people. Because she asked if we could handle that in a buffet. So I was like, depending on the menu, I can't do 3 proteins for 500 people. If you want to stick to 1 or 2, like pork
having those conversations with that type of client is, we had somebody that we didn't end up doing a party for last year reach out and said, hey, we have 500 people and they need to be fed within an hour. And I'm like, it's having a food truck there doing it, not an option. We can have a couple of food trucks there and I'll help you with that. And I think the price was too high for them, even though they're a major food company.
I mean, you're easy $6,000.
Yeah. Easily.
So, but
so make sure to feed enough people within that time frame. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. We got sidetracked again.
No, you're good. So I plan on, my goal is 15. I'm going to hit it pretty hard, promotion wise.
How are you going to do that? Like, what? I know you said promotion, and if we need to stop this and start again next time, because it's
we're good. Well, we got some cutting out to do, but we can always break this up into 2 if we have to. But we'll wrap this up right after this here. So it'll be a lot of Facebook ads, hitting community groups that we're members of. That'll be primarily what it is. You can't, depending on the rules of whatever Facebook groups there are, there's only so much you can do, but so we're members. Members of at least decent ones that we can promote somewhat in them. So then you're just targeting. Is that you?
Had my phone plugged into my computer to charge it.
So I won't change the amount of which I spend on ads, but they will be more directly targeted. So there'll be a higher dollar in certain cities than what I would receive. So it'll be not a widespread ad across the whole west side of Michigan. It'll be a targeted ad for the same amount of money. Are you rolling your eyes at my dogs?
No, that's my dog. They must be trying to save me from another Amazon or delivery driver.
Did they hear my dogs by chance?
No.
No.
One's outside already. The other one's fat, laying in bed and just trying to bark because she doesn't know what she's barking at.
So yeah, so a more direct target on those ads, the same amount of money, just a higher dollar amount spent in a couple of key areas that we typically do well with open houses. So Caledonia, Hudsonville, Newaygo. And then we'll book. So the number of events that we'll do per day is all based on number of people at those events. So it's more of a head count cap for us for open houses than a number of events. So I think the most we've done is 5 in a day.
Jeez.
And that was hard. And they were all drop offs, but it's a lot of coordination and a lot of running.
Mm-hmm.
It was a stressful day.
I can imagine, yeah.
But yeah, they were all like 75 people, 50 to 75 people. So it's like, I'm not going to make enough money off of 3 of them.
Do you have more people? I guess, what's the percentage of people that ask you for the food truck to be at an event versus a buffet drop off kind of thing?
It's a small percentage for the food truck. For personal parties, it's a really small percentage.
So like open houses, stuff like that, you don't get a lot of requests for food
Not
truck?
a lot, no.
See, last year,
year,
majority of what I did was food truck related. Like they wanted the food truck on there on the premise, and that wasn't just weddings. I mean, I think most of the open houses I did was, I think I only had 1 drop off out of the 7 or 8 that I did. So I for me, it's like 90% food truck, 10% drop off.
Oh, yeah, it's probably the other way for us. I think we did 3 or 4 open houses, maybe, that were off the food truck.
Yeah.
And for weddings, most of our weddings are too big for that kind of thing. And that's what we tell them.
Yeah.
If they get above 75, I'm letting them know that we're not going to be able to serve them quickly enough. Like if they have an hour set aside for dinner, the 60 to 70th person still going to be in line.
Yeah.
Probably. So,
even if your ticket times are less than a minute,
Yeah. I mean, it takes time for people to walk through and get food. So, yeah, I'm sure I've talked people out of full truck before.
And that's, I guess, so for I think for us, we did it because that's what we got asked to do. I mean, it was, like I said, we get asked more food truck related stuff. I'll make my New Year's thing, like what you're saying, a little bit more specific. The goal is to book 1 office party out of the venues that I visit.
Okay.
In town office party that hasn't booked with me in the past. 1
score. What?
Yeah, I mean,
one's good. Yeah.
I mean, if I can, and it won't be, I mean, if I can cater it and drop it off, I think that's good. It's all about, I'm still trying to build the brand.
Yeah.
Because my wife did something really smart, but really stupid for me for Christmas. She'll listen to this. So she got me a t-shirt for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really like the logo on it, like how she did it. And
chasing money or chasing dreams?
No, it actually goes better on like apparel. This logo goes way better on apparel what I'm using now.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, it's got me thinking about changing my logo, which is all over my trailer now. But do you think companies have dual logos? I
No,
don't know any. So it's like,
it's a rebrand. It's not we're going to run multiple logos.
yeah, that's where I was going with it.
Unless you're doing diet Skippies, like Diet Coke.
No, I want to put a sticker on it that says this trailer is no place for a diet, but I haven't done that yet. But no, I just the way, because I've been trying to figure out how to do hats, and I can't do hats because our logo, for people who don't know, is a license plate, and it just does not look good on a hat for some strange
Mine
reason.
either. There's too much text and too small that the embroidery just doesn't look right ever.
Yeah,
So
it freaking sucks. Anyway, and it's like with my logo, the smaller you go, so it's green and white basically, and with a kind of a small black border around it. The smaller the logo, the more green it gets. The bigger the logo, the darker green it gets. It's flipping weird. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, one party, that's the goal in those 2 months. But to visit,
1 month.
well, I mean, I combined February. I can't combine February.
No.
Okay, so
1
January,
month. Come on, you can do it.
1 month. Okay, 1 month, that's fine. I want to visit since I'm pretty much off and I'm doing nothing at home because I did all my home projects.
See, look at all the time you got.
Oh boy. God, I hope she's not listening to this. Would be to visit at least 3 businesses per day. Yeah. That's what I want.
Yeah. Is that 7 days a week?
No, it'd probably be like 3 or 4.
Okay.
It's not like I also, okay. Do we want to talk about February yet?
No.
Oh,
We'll talk
it's
about
just January.
February at the end of January.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know how you wanted to do that. All right.
Let's make this attainable and accountable.
So what's
clear set goals.
I'm only at 1550 Facebook followers, by the way.
15. Well, you stopped your ads, you said, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to see the bottom row of my icons here. Oh, I don't even know where I'm at. Let's see where at. What the fuck? What the fuckity fuck? Insights. Patience. Audience. I am at 9787. So it's another 213 to go. And then while we're here real quick, we're at 280 for MMFT guys on Facebook. We're up to 12 subscribers on YouTube. Whoop, whoop. But with that, we've had the highest number of hours of watch time in the last week that we've had on YouTube. So that's a bonus. So
wow, that one new subscriber
watched everything.
Watched everything.
Or 2 episodes, one or the other. So yeah, it's we're starting to hang out in the top 100 now of Apple Podcasts for food category. We dropped off the rankings at one point in time.
Yes, if you're going to watch it, please watch it on Apple.
Yeah. Apple Podcasts. It seems to be the only spot that I can find us ranked currently that they have a category for food. So, but yeah, there's probably 400 to 500 food category podcasts listed. So, as I got bored and was digging on my phone. So yeah, we're top 100 consistently right now. So help keep us there.
Absolutely.
Or, just listen to wherever you want to listen to. I'm just happy that you guys are listening. So, we're going to wrap that up now. I hope everybody has a great new year or had a great new year. I guess by the time this posts, it'll be what are you eating?
Nothing.
I guess by the time it's posted, it'll be the second of January. So
Well,
yeah.
you know, every time we could probably get it popped this week, right?
Yeah, lots of time. I have 4 kids worth of presents of open or empty boxes in my house right now. that we still haven't gotten cleaned up. So that's the rest of my morning.
Before we go, I did see a meme that said we have 364 days till Christmas and people have their damn decorations up already.
I usually leave mine up until New Year. And so I'll take them down usually on the 1st, but they're slowly starting to come down now as I'm. I saw a picture of my office from when we, like the month after we moved in. Sadly, it looks pretty much the same. Same with boxes. Now it has all the Christmas empty totes in it. And I'm like, I need this decluttered as quickly as possible.
Well, your OCD is really kicking in, isn't it?
Yeah, you know how houses have catch-alls. Like, since these have nice sliding doors on the office, there's a couch in here that when we clean the rest of the house, everything just kind of gets moved into here. So,
yeah, our whole house is a catch-all.
yeah, right now it's feeling that way. So, but with Christmas break and extra gifts that were opened and stuff, it's very catchy. Anyways, have a new year. Hope everybody had a good Christmas and a good new year. We will talk to you guys all soon. Keep listening. MMFT guys, Facebook and YouTube. Sweet Rex Barbecue for me on Facebook, and PB&J's of Michigan. There's a PB&J's Barbecue of Michigan. Damn it.
PB&J's BBQ of Michigan.
Yes, for Facebook. And if you haven't gone over to Tiki Sam's Pizza and checked his Facebook out, do that, please. Just search in the Facebook app. Show him some love. Let's see if we can get him to 10,000 before Bert gets to 2,000. Solid eye roll from Bert. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Right back.
Love you guys.
Where is no, snap. I don't know how to stop recording.
Is there a button?